to the United stand. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. If you live in the UK, that's probably the only snow you're going to get this Christmas. It's a wet Christmas, apparently. But after Christmas comes January, and the January transfer window is open. Tonight, we are going to be doing a Discord. We are going to be taking your calls. And for the first time ever, we'll be taking your calls on transfers. You can ask other questions if you want to, but it's going to be about transfers. We've never done it as a call-in for transfers before, so you can give us your thoughts on players, on what United should do. But Manchester United are favourites to sign 3 players this January. Doesn't mean we're going to sign 3. I personally don't think we should sign any, but I'll tell you why in a moment, and I've told you why before, so you may already know. But according to bookies, according to different news outlets, some of them quite credible, Manchester United are the favourites to sign 3 players, and they are those 3 players below. So there's the spoiler. It was there all along. But the reality is that when it comes to Manchester United, the 3 players that we're looking at here, I mean, the most exciting one I'm going to start off with first. You know, I'm not going to give you a little bit of a teaser tonight. I'm going to get straight in because there's a few players I want to talk about. Most interestingly of all, though, just to divert a little bit, Juan Mata. Juan Mata is 31 in April and his contract is up. It's up. In January, he can talk to anybody he likes outside of the Premier League. In May, he can go anywhere he wants, anywhere in the world, in the Premier League or not. We've not got him on a long-term contract. The same for Ander Herrera. And I think the same for Ashley Young, Chris Smalling, Phil Jones. Although they've got their sleeping bags. You know, like the Boxing Day sales, people get up really early and sleep outside like Harrods for the deals. Well, Ashley Young, Chris Smalling, and Phil Jones, they've got their sleeping bags outside Ed Woodward's office at the moment. They're waiting for their contracts. They're desperate. But people who maybe not so desperate are Juan Mata and Herrera, who actually are decent players. And there's links that Juan Mata for Real Madrid. And to be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me. Why would Juan Mata not be a decent signing for Real Madrid? Or even a Barcelona? I mean, people probably say no, but Juan Mata's top level. He's massively consistent for Manchester United. And here we are, looking like we're going to let him go for nothing. There's some ridiculous idiocies going on at United all over the place, but the handling of contracts is ridiculous. But let me talk about Ndombele. He's at Lyon. He's only recently gone to Lyon. I believe they signed him on a contract in the summer, but he'd been on there on loan. But he's recently got in the French squad. He's going to be 22 at the end of this month. And he is a player that many of us have been mentioning for probably about a year now, in that he could be the next big midfield player. Now, some people want to call him box-to-box, but actually he plays on a double pivot for Lyon, with Fekir as the more attacking midfielder and then 2 midfielders with him to the right-hand side. He can play more attacking, but I personally think he's the modern CDM, especially when you look at, you know, Kante played the CDM role really well, but he doesn't play that role for Chelsea anymore. He plays more of an attacking position. I think people think CDM, and as United fans, you think slow plonker stood in front of the back 4 can't pass, Nemanja Matic, or Fellaini. But the modern CDM is somebody who actually can get forward and score a goal, is quite quick, can play a pass, and Ndombele sort of fits into that. And I'm encouraged because United, typically it's a player I like and many of you like, but Emery, good point, Josh. I'll come back on that. Typically, it's a player we like. It reminds me of Aubameyang. I said for years, let's go and get Aubameyang. We never did. Arsenal did. He's brilliant. We were never in for Aubameyang United. But Ndombele sort of struck me as that sort of player where United fans will go, he's going to be really good. We're never in for him. He goes to a rival and he's great. And Man City, PSG, Barcelona have been linked to him. However, there is an article that was in Sport Witness via French Football saying that Manchester United are actually the favourites to sign him at the moment. They've sort of stolen a march and everybody else, which is massively encouraging because I personally think that midfield CDM role is the one we need to improve most of all. And he, to me, is a risk, but anybody's a risk. And he's the one I would, be very excited about as getting. Verratti's probably my number one, but I don't see us doing that because his agent's Mino Raiola, and I don't think United have a great relationship with Mino Raiola at the moment, so that probably wouldn't happen. But Ndombele really does intrigue me. Let's talk about Mesut Ozil because there's probably a few Arsenal fans saying, you're not getting him. Now, this sort of started with TalkSport. Alan Brazil was saying that it would be a good move for United. I'm not impressed with United's midfield. Alexis Sanchez hasn't settled in well. Alexis Sanchez back to Arsenal. Ozil goes the other way. And it was also with the bookies, we're favourite to sign Ozil, who's had a bit of a mixed season under Emery, who has shown with Jack Wilshere and Aaron Ramsey that he's willing to get rid of players that are popular if they don't fit into what he wants. Mesut Ozil, I think, is 30 now, isn't he? 30, maybe coming up for 31, I don't know. But he's certainly no spring chicken. For me, it's a big fat no, by the way. With Mesut Ozil, it is a no. I don't know what you lot think. He's a very good player. He's proven in the Premier League. Mourinho loves him. He loves Mourinho. So, potentially. But I don't see how that deal works. Last year, he was in the same situation as Sanchez, where he could have left for free. He signed a long-term contract with Arsenal, which means they would want a fee for him, which means he's on good wages. And I don't really think Ozil's any better than Juan Mata. And I know some people will say, oh, you're an idiot. But I've been called that before. And actually, Juan Mata's established at the club. And what we're going to do with Ozil, we don't actually play a number 10. We always stick him on the wing anyway. So he's not really what I think United need. I also don't see why Arsenal would want Alexis Sanchez back. I don't, you can call Arsenal fans many things, but they are a big club. They have got a big fan base. Let's say Anthony Martial left Manchester United for Arsenal, and then a year later he comes back. What we meant to do? Oh, come back. You failed. You're a flop. Come back. I don't think Arsenal fans would welcome him back. So I think there's absolutely nothing in that. And I don't think United would go for him. However, I do think that maybe Mourinho would like him. Toby Alderweireld is a player that we are also favourites to sign. And we've been favourites for a long time with him. As I say about Toby Alderweireld, I know a lot of you like him. And I'm not saying it's a bad deal for United. But he's 30 in March. He has got a bit of an injury record. He's definitely on the decline this season. Whether he can get back up again, I don't know. I just think he needs to adjust his game, and I don't see him doing that. He can do it. I just haven't seen him do it yet. He's losing pace. He's a centre-back approaching 30. He needs to adjust his game. He can still be a world-class centre-back. Just adjust your game. And, to such an extent that Pochettino didn't even play him in the North London derby. He played that youngster, didn't he? The Argentinian guy. So I think maybe that's to do with the fact that Alderweireld won't sign a contract. I don't know, but I know a lot of you think Alderweireld's the right man for United. He may be the right man that we can get. A lot of people like Koulibaly, a lot of people like Skriniar, I certainly do, but I don't think they're gettable. And when you look at what's gettable, I will concede and say, look, Alderweireld may well be the best we can get in this magical, mythical, experienced leader centre-back that Mourinho thinks is not only going to solve our defence, but solve world peace and Brexit. It's a mythical thing that an experienced centre-back is going to make us challenge for titles. It might help us get in the top 4 a little bit closer, but I still think, even with a top-class centre-back, I don't think we'd be in top 4. I think we'd be closer to it, but I don't think it's a 10-point swing just because we've got a top-class centre-back. I really don't see that, and I've been watching United a lot. But he may be the best we can go and get, and to be honest with you, is it better than nothing? The other option is this Militao Porto player. I think he's early 20s. He's not been at Porto long. £45 million release clause. I mentioned him before. And I don't agree with that signing because it's a good signing if Mourinho's not your manager. But look at Eric Bailly, look at Lindelof. The centre-back we need is meant to be the experienced leader centre-back. I don't see a player that's played a handful of games at Porto coming in and solving our supposed issues at the back, which I don't actually agree that we have any. But so it's interesting. Ndombele, Ozil, Alderweireld. If I was picking one, it would be Ndombele for me. Sick of us going for over the hill rival players, says Sims. Yeah, but that's the sort of thing that Mourinho likes, isn't it? He likes the player close to 30. He thinks that that's going to win him titles because he's still stuck living in the past to a certain extent. And I think that the thing for me is that Jose Mourinho getting money is the thing that concerns me. And I said it at lunchtime on the preview, and I've said it before. It concerns me why we would give Jose Mourinho money in January when we didn't really give him the money in the summer, only a few months after giving him a new contract. There's a contradiction. They should have given him all the money in the summer, and then when it fails, don't give him any money in January and sack him in May. Instead, we gave him the new contract. We didn't give him all the money we should have given him in the summer. Now we're going to give him some more money in January when it's blatantly obvious we're not getting top 4 and he's messed the season up and he should be sacked in May. Yet we're going to give him money. It contrasts that with Van Gaal, who wanted signings in the January, didn't get any because they were going to sack him in the May. It concerns me that we're going to give money to Mourinho in January. We're not going to be in the top 4, but then we're going to keep him for another summer. And I'll tell you what, if that happens, I'll be beyond frustrated. If we don't get top 4 and we keep Mourinho, that is a disgrace. So I'm just worried about us spending money in January on a manager that for me is finished at Manchester United. It's just when. It's when we move him on. And I think that is inevitable. But I do get concerned that we're going to give him some money, and that means he's going to stay next season. And for every season he's here, it's another season we're definitely not winning the title. If Darren Sorden says, if Spurs don't want Alderweireld, why would we want him? Well, that's a very valid point for me. It is like hand-me-downs. But we've done that before. I mean, Matic was a hand-me-down from Chelsea. He was coming towards the end. People wouldn't listen to me when I said it. I said he's slow. He won't suit us. He had 2 good months when we signed him, and the last 18 have been. No, he's not been here for 18 months, but you know what I mean. The last 10 have been crap. Alexis Sanchez, another player, hand-me-down, coming towards the end of his career. Arsenal, I think Arsenal knew what the story was with Sanchez. He didn't have a good start to the season with Arsenal anyway. And I think we go and get these players thinking, oh, look at them. Best player in the Premier League 2 years ago. Doesn't mean he is now. Decline is real in football, and it can happen very early. I mean, not everybody is Ryan Giggs, Ronaldo, Paul Scholes, playing at their top of their game into the mid-30s. Some people are Wayne Rooney, finished at 29 at the top level. So, it's like Ashley Young. He's actually quoted as saying, I'm coming up for 34, I want another year contract at United. And I'm sure we're going to give it him. And in some ways, he's probably deserved it. But, not everybody is going to be playing to that level. I think Valencia is declining as well. I don't think we should be giving him a new contract. But it is interesting. I think the transfer window is getting very close now. It's only 3 weeks away until it opens. And I certainly think, I get the feeling United are going to do some business. And, I just hope if we're going to do business, it is business that no matter who the manager is, they're going to go, he's a good signing. Like Ndombele, doesn't matter if Pochettino or Zidane come in, they will go, well, he's better than the crap that's here. So that's fine. Alderweireld, they might be like, Jerome Boateng, we're in real trouble. United have finished, unfortunately. Get Mourinho out now, says Simon Lomax. Richarlison would cost a lot of money, Rogvi, and Rakesh has made a contribution saying Jose out. Right, if you want to call in, I'm going to take some of your calls now. It's Discord. The link is in the video description. You'll only get through the link. You'll only get onto our Discord through that because you have to be invited. So that's the invite link. Get on there, and I'm going to take some calls now. So get ready. Get ready to get a call, and let's hope it will run smooth today as I pull somebody in. To the live chat. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand.
Oh, you're right, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You?
Ooh, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the transfers, or is there something that's burning on your mind?
I was just saying that in terms of transfers, we shouldn't spend a single penny. Because as far as I'm concerned, we don't even have a template. Our club has no template in terms of direction of the football we want to produce. United fans know what we want. We want to see that attack and play. We want to see the wing plays introduced back again. But Ed Woodward or the Glazers, whoever has that decision to make, there is no identity in terms of what brand of football they want. So until we can actually get a template sorted, there is no point buying players. Because what we're going to do is have this concoction of the different players for different managers. So we've had the Moyes players, we've had the Van Gaal players, and we've had the Mourinho players. If Mourinho's going to be gone, there's no point buying an Alderweireld or people like that. It's just pointless. And I actually think it's pointless buying any other sort of Mourinho type player. Understand the template, and actually if it's the case that our philosophy doesn't adhere to what Mourinho's about, then he do Simon Garfunkel and split due to musical differences. Thanks for your time, but go. We've got our direction. This is the type of football we want to produce, and this is not the same as what you're offering.
I mean, we all know the United fan. Well, we all know football. It's not just the United fan base, and I agree with you. I don't think we should spend money on Mourinho, but I know what will happen in January if we don't spend money. You know that United fans are going to be going, oh, we haven't spent any money. Woodward, the Glazers, they're a disgrace. And I just don't know whether, I think it's the right decision, but I don't know whether our fan base actually will be patient with that. I think they actually will have a big old moan if we don't spend any money. Although I agree with you. I think why invest? And I don't know whether you saw Jordi Cruyff, who used to be at United, he actually said pretty much what you said. He said that, you look at Man City, you look at Barcelona, they've got an identity. I look at United and they just don't have a plan.
Yeah, Yeah, you look at our rivals. They all have plans. You know what they're looking to do, and the progression of that. Ours is just basically a scattergun approach, and that's been kind of how we've been for the last 4 or 5 years. Which is you reap what you sow. The fact that we've been so aimless in our approach, we've been aimless this year. So this is where who came first, chicken or the egg? When it comes to, is it Mourinho or is it actually this poor planning that we seem to have in place time after time after time? It's like we're not learning from our mistakes. But you look at the personnel at our disposal. We've got defenders. Lindelof has improved. Bally, well, I rate him. I think he's a fantastic defender. He really, I love watching him play. Delo, I want to see more of. Thank God we've finally got somebody who can cross a ball. Because I'm sick of seeing Valencia trying to attempt that sort of smash pass. We've got Luke Shaw. We've got midfield players. You've got your Herreras, you've got your Pereiras, you've got Fred Pogba. And then up, we're very left heavy, aren't we? We've got Rashford, we've got Martial. And if we play Lukaku in the right way, I know he's got poor form, or he's very bulky at the moment, but use him at strength. Keep him in that 18-yard box and get the goals, give him that service. But we've got the players there. I don't buy into this that we haven't got the personnel. We've definitely got the personnel.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I was talking to Flex on the show last night about that, and I think a lot of people want to get rid of Lukaku, but I agree. I don't think Lukaku is going to be easy to get rid of because of the value of him, and I think we've got to work with Lukaku to get the best out of him. And we all take the mickey out of his first touch, but let's work a way where we're not knocking the ball into his feet with the back to goal. Let's work the flanks, because that's where Lukaku's facing the goal and he can attack the ball. I think, we can't play this build-up play through Lukaku, and I think you're right. I think we've got to look at how we evolve the way we play, and it's not a boring way to play that. I mean, just quickly before I take the next call, I just want to ask you about the game at the weekend, because on a positive level, we did use the width. You mentioned Delo and the crosses. The fullbacks bombed forwards. I suppose the problem is it's like we've never played that way before, and it was Fulham bottom of the league. And Mourinho's never played the same way for more than a couple of games in a row. So it's trusting whether he's going to stick with that style, I suppose.
He won't. The problem is Mourinho's gripped with fear. All the decisions are based on fear, as opposed to courage. Delo will give you the opportunities. He plays to a lot of players' strengths. If he's good at crossing, and we want Lukaku in that box, then get him in there. But it won't be. It'll be Young or Valencia, or it'll be the same people, because it's all trust. He's a broken man at this moment in time, and he'll just pick the players to trust him in the big games, to see him out for a draw. That's the thing. He'll set a team up to not lose, but he won't set a team up to win, and that's the difference.
Thanks for calling in, mate. There's a lot of people in the live comments saying great first caller, so you've done very well there. I certainly enjoyed it, and please do call in again. Cool.
All right, take care. Good show, mate.
You too, pal. Thank you very much. Okay, well, it's the Discord link in the video description to get yourself in. I know if it's your first time, you're probably going to struggle to go through the link, get yourself set up and everything. But basically, what you need to do is just have a little bit of a play around with it. But once you're in our Discord, you'll see there are little groups down the left. There's call groups. There's chat groups. Now, the chat groups are just typing away text. There'll be people talking about Mourinho. That's just your normal sort of forum, but it's a live forum. Your voice chats, you can go in. You can talk 24/7 in there, or you can just mute and listen to other people talking. There's some really good chats going on. But when we have a live show, there are calling queues that you can get in there, and I'll pull people into the show. So there you go. Michael Jones says no parking the bus. Look, I think I heard somebody say today on the preview show, Delo won't play against Liverpool, and I'd never considered that. But actually, I think they're probably right. I mean, because Ashley Young's definitely going to play, and is he going to drop Luke Shaw? He's got to drop Shaw or Delo and play Young either right or left back. And I think that he will probably, it's either Shaw or Delo aren't going to play, are they? Nicholas P's made a contribution. He says, I think we should spend money. Why not? Try and strengthen. Any new manager will have negotiated their own transfer pot anyway. I don't see how it can hurt us. We are rock bottom at the moment. And what a great point that is. It's great to be able to read something and say, look, I don't have all the answers. I've never said that. Some people, some plonkers will say, oh, Goldbridge thinks he's the voice of the fans. I purposely put it on my Twitter bio. I'm just a fan. I may be a presenter, but I'm just a fan. And my opinions, although 99.9% of the time I am right, sometimes I'm right. I'm joking there. But you know what I mean? I'll read something like that and it'll make me think, oh, that's a really good point. That's why I love doing the shows. So, you know what? Actually, give Mourinho 100 million, sack him in May, and then the next manager can say, I'm only coming if you give me 200 million. If we don't spend it, you don't get it, I suppose. But it does worry me a little bit that, I don't know. I just want Mourinho gone in May. I'm happy for him to stay till May. I think top four's gone as far as I'm concerned, but he's got to go in May. I really do. Mark, do I just need to join Q1 to get through? Says Darren Sorden. Yeah, just get in the Q1 or 2. It's fine. Let's take another call, actually. But, it's not just about transfers. You can call in and talk about anything you want tonight. I'm very, very happy to take your calls. Hello, can you hear me? Trouble is, sometimes you've got a little bit of a delay on people and they may not hear. Hello, can you hear me? Especially if they are waiting, if they are watching as well. Let's try him. Hello, you're live on the United Stands. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. I'm fine, thanks. Are you?
I'm good.
What do you want to talk about?
Just watching the Everton game, and I was hearing you talking to the last fan, and I'm so Mourinho out because the way it stands, we are so happy that we are in the top 6 2 days ago. The way things standing, Everton winning 1-0, looks like we're going back down to 7. Mourinho needs to leave.
Oh yeah, Richarlison scored. That's probably why people were talking about Richarlison in the live comments, not as a signing, as a goal scorer. So yeah, so we'll be back down to 7th. I mean, I spoke about this last night. I mean, if I said to you, look, we're not getting top 4 anyway. He's going to get 20 million if we sack him now. If we wait till the end of the season, we don't get top 4 anyway. He only gets 5 million. Part of me just feels, tell you what, stay till the end of the season. Complete the damage you've caused this season. You're only getting 5 million instead of 20 million, and then we start again in the summer. Do you agree with that, or would you actually get rid of him now and try and salvage something? Hello? He's gone. He's gone, which is a bit of a shame. That was a bloody good question as well. I was hoping he was going to answer that one. Let's try this person here. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand.
Hello?
Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Oh no, I've had him on before. It's the same one who goes, I'm Jose Mourinho in, and then has no reason as to why he's Jose Mourinho in. Paul, if you're in the live group, just drop in and have a chat with me for a minute, actually, because I wouldn't mind asking you that chat. I can see Paul Robinson, who is one of our moderators, is actually in the group chat at the moment, so hopefully he might just drop in for a chat. Paul, are you there?
Yeah, you're right, mate.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the live comments who just want that question answered to the last person who disappeared for some reason. I was saying there, I don't think we can get top 4 now. I said this last night. I personally, stubbornly, want Mourinho to stay till May, get sacked, and not get 20 million, get 5 million because it drops down. I know that means we've got to put up with him for the rest of the season, but I don't think a new manager can come in now and get us top 4 anyway. I think the only advantage of that is he's got 6 months to work with the squad. Would you agree with that, or do you think actually no, let's get rid of him now?
I just don't think he's going to go anyway until the Glazers are very sure that we're not going to get top 4 mathematically, as you said very often. So, in my opinion, if we can get rid of him now and get another manager in, we can possibly see what the team can do. My biggest fear is at the end of the season, we lose Martial, we lose Pogba. We don't get the best out of the players that we've got.
Yeah, you still there, mate? Hello? He's disappeared as well. Nobody wants to answer this question. It's really weird tonight. And maybe he'll drop back in. Let me have a look at some of the comments. I'm sure he'll come back in. He's one of the greatest managers of all time, says Harpreet Singh. Well, so is Arsene Wenger, but he was crap at the end. That's sort of a dead point, I suppose, to say, oh, he's one of the greatest managers of all time. Arsene Wenger was as well. One Murd Man says, ridiculous lack of alternative Mourinho in viewpoints on here. This is for the fans. Hey, mate, that is a silly comment. What can we do other than there's the Discord link, other than there's the fan cams? If you're Mourinho in, come and do it. The reason you don't get any Mourinho people on fan cams, or although we did get one at the weekend, or you don't get many people doing the fan cams Mourinho in, or you don't get many people on the Discord saying Mourinho in, is because they haven't actually got a leg to stand on. They are, I respect their opinion, but it's just based on hope and perseverance and hoping, hope again. I don't think they've actually got anything they can come on and say, like, oh, he's one of the greatest managers of all time. Yeah, Wenger was as well. So I don't think that is the problem solver, if I'm totally honest. But anybody's welcome to call in. Anyone's welcome to call in. But picking up on what Paul was saying there, I do agree to a certain extent that getting a manager in now with 6 months to get to know what the team's all about is great. And obviously keeping Mourinho, it's more months where maybe Martial doesn't sign a contract, Pogba wants to leave. But I do not see a situation where we remove Mourinho before May anymore. I've got to be honest, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I just really don't. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Can you hear me?
Hello, is it me?
Yeah, you're live, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm Ray. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
What do you want to talk about?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I want to talk about buying players on the Jose. I think we should stop now because he's had over 400 million, and keep buying these players all the time. I mean, we have no clear plan on the football pitch. I'm happy to see him in May and then leave, and then let's just start again. I mean, Ozil, are you crazy? I mean, Ozil's finished. I don't know why we even linked that.
You still there? Huh? Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I just think giving Jose any more money, he'd be like giving your life away, because he's done nothing with the money he's had so far. I mean, just ride the season out now, because what's the point of giving him more money to do what with? I mean, he's got good players there already, and he'll just come in, put them on the bench, say, oh, they need time to settle in, and they'll do something wrong, he'll pull them out again. I've just lost all faith in this manager, and I think no more money should be given to him. What you got to say about that, Mark?
I think that in relation to sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback because you've not got me on mute, so it's hard for me to hear. But do you think there's any prospect that he'll be sacked after the Liverpool game?
Sorry?
Do you think he'll be sacked after the Liverpool game if we lose?
Well, no, because this board is very slow at getting rid of managers. I would like him to be sacked, but I think they're going to wait until they did with Moyes and Van Gaal. Wait until mathematically we're out of Champions League and get rid of him. But I think we're already out already. So I don't know why he's there. He's like a dead man walking. I mean, players don't like him. Fans have gone back up. Fans are finished with it. I was with you. I was with Mourinho in. I was giving him a chance. I said, oh, well, let's give him this to it. But as soon as I saw the Spurs game, the West Ham game, the Brighton game, I was done with him, because he's not going to change. So he should be sacked. But the board is just going to go, oh, well, it's, he just, we're still there. We're still hanging on, don't worry about it. We'll see come May. But then by May, we'll probably be 20 points behind whoever is at first. Maybe double points out of fourth. So, it should be gone for me.
Thanks for coming on, Ray, and I'll speak to you again soon.
All right, cheers, mate. Thanks.
Ta-da. Sorry about that, everybody. There's a bit. I think if you don't mute the other side, you get me on repeat, which twice the goal bridge for one. 2 for 1. Kizale has made a contribution. He says, board has only an objective of 4th place, no long-term plans, no proper direction, no rebuilding process. Sack Mourinho. A new man can work with Greenwood, Chong, Gomez instead of buying new players. Again, I made a very good point last night, didn't I? I said, look, you know what? As long as we all know that Mourinho is gone in May, we've got a very exciting summer to come. The only problem is we won't have Champions League football. We're going to be back in the Emmerdale Cup. But, you know, a manager that uses youth, a manager that's going to get money to spend, because every summer we've not been in the Champions League, whether it was Van Gaal or Mourinho, we always get a lot of money because the club, their bottom starts twitching like a rabbit's nose, because they're like, they can't afford to not be in the Champions League for 2 years. 1 year they can always do it. Most of the sponsors are like, you can't be out for 2, so they spend to accumulate. Unfortunately, I think Van Gaal and Mourinho spent badly with both those opportunities, and hopefully we'll get somebody else in. Thomas Platts, the link is in the video description to join the Discord and then get yourself on the call-in queue waiting to come in. Please do drop a like on the video, by the way, everybody, because this is, you know, United Standers calling in. This is what the community is all about, so please do call in on that. Everton are winning 1-0 at the moment, which puts us down to 7th again if they win, because they've got a better goal difference. So, you know, 7th in the league, even though we beat bottom of the league. And Mark, if Jose wins the Champions League by miracle, would you be Jose in? Says Al Kukai. I don't think so, because you've just said it there, haven't you? If Jose wins the Champions League by a miracle, and I think we all know that for Manchester United to win the Champions League, they would have to do it by luck, grinding out, you know, like the Juventus game, really. We deserve to win it, but, you know, 9 times out of 10, Juventus would take their chances and put us to bed. So if we won the Champions League, I think we would need a lot of luck. We would need a miracle. So next season, yeah, we'd be Champions League winners, but next season we know we're going to get more of the same. I think the only way I could be Mourinho in again is if we, you know, winning the Champions League would be nice, but I'd much rather say, from today, we start playing really good football. We play with fullbacks, we play on the attack, we move the ball quick, and we come, you know, maybe we put a valiant effort in and we just finish 5th or 4th. And maybe we go to the semi-finals of the Champions League and we just lose out to a better team than us. That's more important to me, because it's something that the future's about. It's something about good football. It's something about playing the right players. If he did that sort of thing, then maybe I would say Mourinho in. Scamming in a Champions League would be great, and it would keep him in a job, but it wouldn't solve the problem that he's not the right fit for Manchester United. And Michael Schreiber says, if Mourinho won it, I'd still want him gone. So there you go. Let's take another call. We should have a few people waiting. I'll quite like this name. Let's hope they talk. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, yes, they were there. Yeah. Hello, you're live on the United Stand.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about if we can get Koulibaly or Skriniar, we should sign them, because under any other manager they would be successful. I think so.
I think the problem, I totally agree with you, but how are we going to get Koulibaly and Skriniar in January? That's the thing.
According to credible journalists, we can get Koulibaly because he want a pay rise. It's well known. But Skriniar, I don't think so. We can get. He is happy there. But
well, we can get them. It's just the price. Do you think Ed Woodward would pay 90 million for Koulibaly? Because that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah, that's the problem. But other thing I'd want to talk about is our wage bill. Our wage bill is second highest in the whole Europe. That's a disgrace. And the worst thing about is that we pay so much wages to the newcomers that if they flop, we can't even sell them on decent price, because other clubs are not willing to pay the fees for it. Like Mourinho wanted many players gone this summer. He didn't got rid of them because they were on so much high wages, and clubs were not offering decent money for them. That's a huge problem, our wage structure, and that's a huge worry. And I want to say something about Ed Woodward. Everyone is saying he's a very good businessman. Well, how difficult it is to get brand deals and advertisements when we are the biggest fan base in the world. How difficult it is. Can you tell me?
I tell you what, that's a fantastic point. I've never heard anybody say that, and you're right. You know.
And one more thing. If he is a good businessman, how can he let the so much expensive players like De Gea and Martial on a 1 year contract remaining? How can he do that? How can we say that he's a good businessman? He's taking a risk.
You know what? I'll come back
Are you
on.
getting me?
I'll come back and I want to get your thoughts on these two things I'm going to say. First of all, I think you're spot on about the contracts. I don't understand why people like Juan Mata in 3 weeks are free to speak to anybody and leave our club, and Ander Herrera. You know, Ander Herrera is suddenly our most important player in the midfield. In 3 weeks, he can speak to anyone outside the Premier League and go for free. So that's Woodward's fault. And the second thing, which you brought up, which I think you're right, is that, you know, this isn't Mourinho's fault. The United, over the last 6 years, we've always bought high and sold low. I mean, we can't sell Darmian. We spent a lot of money on him. Daley Blind, we did okay. But we, you know, even going back to that summer, I don't know whether you remember it, where we sold Van Persie, Chicharito, Raphael, Nani for about £17 million. Yeah, £17 million we got for those 4 players. And none of them were retiring. They were all still good players.
Yeah.
So, you're right.
That's because they are on such high wages, and we pay so much high wages to newcomers. If they flop, we can't sell them. That's the huge problem. I don't know, like Liverpool. Liverpool replaced so much deadwood after Klopp has come, because they can sell high and they can buy with that money. That's their good business structure. They don't pay. Robertson is on like 60k and Luke Shaw is 120k. That's a joke. That's a joke.
The most disappointing thing is that, like you say, we're the second biggest wage payer in Europe, and then you look at what's happening on the pitch. It is a joke. It's unacceptable. We overpay, and they don't perform.
Yeah, and that's why that happened. Because Woodward let Luke Shaw run his contract down. We should say to the player, if you're going to run the contract down, we are going to sell you no matter what. Sign the contract or don't stay here.
Exactly. Brilliant. Well, thanks for calling in. Really appreciate it. And, you know, again, I really appreciate it because you raised some really good points. And please do call in again.
Thanks.
Cheers, pal. Really, really, really good points, actually. You know what? I'd never really thought of it like that. Should have done. Ed Woodward, I always say, shouldn't be involved in the football side of things, should be involved inside of the brands because he's a great businessman. But actually, how hard is it to go to a brand and say, we've got the biggest fan base in the world, pay us money for it? You know, that's exactly, you know, whether it's somebody wanting to advertise at half-time on a Sky game or in front of loads of United fans, it's the same. If you've got an audience, if you've got the numbers, advertisers will pay you. Simple as. As for the comments, I've seen a few people complaining about, and it was a great call, Manchester United. I've seen a few people talking about racism in the live comments. I genuinely hope that there wasn't any, because come on, especially after the weekend we've just had, I don't want to see that. Look, you know what? I presume the caller was from India, maybe, you know, that region. You're maybe not used to listening to people from that region, and maybe, you know, you were laughing at the accent, but actually some people would take that as being racist. So come on, we've got a great community here. We've had a very difficult weekend in the UK with the Sterling thing. And look, I think I was speaking to Flex about this afternoon as well. And I think people just are afraid of something that they don't understand or they're not used to. And that's why it's an element of why you get racism. We've got a great community. Come one, come all. Everybody is welcome as long as they respect each other. And why wouldn't you respect each other? If someone comes on and says something funny, great, have a laugh. But let's not start laughing at people, because actually that call was brilliant, absolutely superb. And why wouldn't it be? So, you know, respect the callers. Smash a like on the video as well, because we've got a really good community here. And I love getting the opinions of people anywhere. And if you don't take those calls, if we don't take calls from you, you don't get that opinion. So really, really good. Really, really good. And we are, you know, the United stand means something. Whether, you know, you might not even be a United fan, but it means something. So don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Have banter, have a laugh, but please don't cross the line because it's not fair, and it ruins it for everybody. Right, let's see if we can get another caller on. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. He says to himself. Let's see if we can get this person. Again, I quite like the names. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Fine,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Ozil. I don't know if you've seen, there were some reports that say that he was found to be addicted to Fortnite.
Right. I've heard about Ndombele at Barcelona being addicted to video games, but I wasn't aware of Ozil. He does look a bit tired, to be honest. So maybe there's something in that.
Yeah, they said it was the reason for his backache, and it was reported in the Mirror and in the Express, I think, and a doctor talked about it in the Bild newspaper in Germany. So what I want to say is, you talked about Mourinho liking players over 30. I think Ozil, even though he's 30, I don't think he fits the category of players that Mourinho like. He's he was he had a picture of him smoking the gas. So I mean, it's not really the type of players that Mourinho like, and I don't think he will get along well with him. And moreover, I think he's really not someone who puts enough effort, and he kind of looks like a lazy player who will only give you a good performance like once in maybe 5 or 4 games.
I agree. I agree. And to be honest with you, I was speaking about it earlier. I don't want Ozil for the reasons you've said. Exactly. I've seen Ozil against United, the invisible man, and that is. I'm not saying he might not have been a bad signing maybe a couple of years ago, but I think we all know United. Even Mourinho himself says he wants mad dogs, which roughly interpreted means he wants players like Herrera, who just never stop running. And Ozil's not that player. I mean, I don't know. I may have got this wrong. You sound a little bit French to me. I don't know whether you are.
Yes.
Ndombele, do you know much about him? Because he's another player we were talking about.
Ndombele from Lyon.
Yeah.
He's a good player. To be honest, I've not watched a lot of Lyon games. But again, he's 21, and I think it will be the same. With Mourinho, it's just not gonna work. The young player. I don't know if he's flamboyant or not, like Pogba, but you're just taking a risk with Mourinho. I believe, but for the future, I think that these are the kind of players that United should go with, and that's why I think the best option for United is to bring on Zidane, because Zidane, he's French. First, he's proven as a manager, 3 Champions League in a row. He's very good with young players. He helped develop a lot of young players in Real Madrid. He was the one who remember brought Varane when he was still very young. Who discovered him? He helped Asensio, play well with first team, and he's very respected, especially by French players. And given that, nowadays in our time now, I would say the largest pool of players of good talent is from France, and so I think this is the right strategy for any team, is to really get a real French connection. Especially with Zidane, all French players, they will love him. He's still a young manager. He's very close to their mentality, and I'm sure he will get the best out of French players that are already present, like of course Pogba, Martial, Bailly, which are the flair players of United. And so, I mean, definitely Zidane over Mourinho is really a very good option, and I think a little bit underestimated.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that with Zidane, there will be also, players will want to come, even if maybe, well, as I think Manchester United will not finish in the top four, but still, like a player like Rabiot in PSG, who is not playing, he would love to work with Zidane, and he's a very good player. I'm thinking also about Dembele with Barcelona, even though he has been playing well recently, especially in the last game. But I think this is the direction that United need to go, and I want to also talk a little bit about another problem of Mourinho is how he treats player, and I will just make a comparison with Unai Emery of Arsenal. And in the last press conference of Arsenal, Emery was asked about you know the Fellaini pulling the hair of Guendouzi, and he said that he made the joke. He said Emery said, "Oh, he should cut his hair," but then he said, "But still, I'm okay with his hair. I respect very much players how they put their hair and their color of their hair and stuff like that." Whereas Mourinho, he remember he made the comment about Smalling, and he said he doesn't. Smalling played well, but he just don't like his hair. And I mean, even if this is just been said as a joke, but is a very good indicator of relation of the nature of the relationship between managers like Mourinho, like old school managers, and the new school managers of Unai Emery, Pochettino, and so on. So
I suppose in a way, just to jump in there, it's a little bit, and I don't want to use this as an example, but at the moment with the Raheem Sterling thing, we've got this racism thing going on in the UK. Quite rightly, it's been highlighted, and I think I was speaking to Flex about it this afternoon, and I live in the Midlands, and it's very, very multicultural, and I just see people saying like things like they said against Raheem Sterling, and I just don't get it, because I've got friends of all backgrounds, and I don't get it, but then the older generation, I still think that those isms exist, and I think you're probably right there with Mourinho. I think he's still doing things he probably did 15-20 years ago, whereas the newer star managers, your Pochettinos, your Emerys, they're more aware of how to deal with the modern world, the modern footballer, and that's why when they are asked about things like hair, they know not to say anything that's gonna, whether it's a joke or not to say something that could be taken the wrong way. Whereas Mourinho is constantly saying things that could be taken as a joke, or is he being serious?
I think Mourinho, he really gives too much importance to the character of the player and how he is. And if he does not like the player, he's not gonna want to really work with him and to go and talk to him. Whereas other managers now, they understand that there is nothing they can do to change the way players live their life and their behavior, and they just have to work with what they have. And on the pitch, they tell them, you have to deliver, and outside the pitch, you do what you want. So and I think Mourinho really he has to like the person in order to work with the person. So I think this is where now is this kind of way of doing doesn't work anymore. And I also want to talk just about Gary Neville and how he defended Mourinho. I think this was, like you said, after the match of Newcastle, I think this was really something that maybe helped Mourinho stay at his job. But I think Gary Neville, he also was pro David Moyes. And this is, I think, it was due to Gary Neville failing in Valencia. I think Gary Neville is is like a member of the union of the.
I was just about to say he's a unionist. He is. I think he is a managers' union sort of protector of managers, isn't he?
Because he was fired from. I think he failed in Valencia, and so he's just gonna back up any manager anywhere, and just so I think his perspective on managers is very biased, and I think people should not really give it any second thought.
No, he's a great
So-
pundit, but on managers, maybe we should just take it with a pinch of salt. But thanks for the
Yeah.
call. Absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. And please do call in again.
Thank you, Mark. See you.
Cheers, pal. I really did enjoy that one. Probably went on a little bit longer than others. I apologise for that, but there were so many good points in it. Dylan Walsh says, if you were United manager, would you buy world-class players or start using youth? Examples, Fosu Mensah, Twansibi, Pereira, Gomez, Greenwood. I think the opportunity there is to use youth. I mean, I would always try and use youth in a situation that isn't a pressure cooker one. It's the sort of Sir Alex Ferguson thing, really. You know, handle the youth. Don't throw them into things that are... But Mourinho just doesn't use it. Shisha Sandeep says, just adding to the point that the previous caller made, if we keep playing like this for like 4 or 5 more years, we won't be left with as many fans. Going to be very, very difficult for Woodward then. Thanks for the contribution. I just wanted to pick up on something from the last caller as well. You know, for all the negativity, and I always say the negativity that we feel as fans is being fed to us by the club. It's not being fed to, you know, you don't just get up in the morning and think, I'm going to moan about Manchester United. The results, the performances, the way that we're handling ourselves, it breeds negativity. You can't be blamed for that. But what I would say on a positive is that do not underestimate how quickly this can flip. You know, I don't understand. He's not necessarily my first choice, but I would like Zidane. He's not my first choice, but I would like Zidane. He's in my top 3. And the flip of a coin this can change on. You know, if Mourinho left United tomorrow and Zidane came in, you will not believe how you feel today and how you feel on Thursday if Zidane is manager. You will not believe the change in the dressing room if Zidane is manager. You will not believe our ability to bring players in if Zidane is manager. He's won 3 Champions Leagues at one of the biggest clubs in the world. If you watched Real Madrid at any time over the last 20 years, I will refute anybody who says managing Real Madrid's easy. Well, of course, managing Real Madrid is easier than managing bloody Alba or, you know, Stoke. But actually, managing Real Madrid over the last 20 years, 25 years, 30 years has been far from easy. You can win the odd league, you can win the odd Champions League, but sustained success is very difficult because their model has always been to go out and buy the best players. And when they dip, they've got a bit of a soft chin. What Zidane did at Real Madrid, and if anybody watches That's Football, because I do a lot of Champions League watch-alongs and I'm doing them tomorrow night. I'm not doing Madrid, but when I did Madrid, the videos are out there, and I always said it, and there was no prospect of Zidane leaving there or coming to United. I always used to say, the thing I like about Madrid under Zidane is he's adaptable, and he's turned them into a football team. That midfield 3, it doesn't really have Galacticos in it. I know Modric won the Ballon d'Or or whatever. It was a bit of a con, really. But he's not really a star like Paul Pogba is. You know, Ronaldo obviously up front, but he built a team. He built the best back 4 in the world, I believe. I think the midfield 3 of Casemiro, Modric and Kroos is the best midfield 3 in the world without having a stunning star in it like Pogba or someone like that. And also with Real Madrid, I watched them play a lot of games where they didn't necessarily play well in the first 45 minutes. Sometimes they went behind, but he adapted his tactics to get them back in it. The Juventus Champions League final was a prime example of that. Juventus were the better team in the first half. In the second half, he changed it round and they won it comfortably. He's an adaptive manager. Yes, he's had a lot of things in his favour at Real Madrid, but I firmly believe he's a very, very good coach and he's only going to get better. I just don't necessarily think he's going to come to Manchester United. But do not think for one moment that if we did get a Zidane in, that French connection, the amount of players that, you know, not only has he already proven himself as a top manager, he's proven as one of the best players of a generation. People will want to play for him. Positivity will come back to Manchester United if we get the right appointment with the manager. I mean, if we retain Mourinho, then there's going to be always people who are dubious about him. If you replace Mourinho with someone like Conte, then we may just be recycling what we've got. And that I'm fearful of that. I am fearful of that. Whenever Mourinho goes, if he goes, I am still fearful that this board, since Sir Alex Ferguson has left, has appointed 3 managers who are totally and utterly incompatible with what our club is. 3 pragmatic, negative managers to a club that's all about risk. I mean, I watched that brilliant documentary on BT about Too Good to Go Down. And the 70s, United, the 70s is always the era I don't really know much about. I probably know more about the 50s than I know about the 70s. 60s, obviously, 80s, 90s, yeah, we know it. But the 70s, a lot of people put it down as an unsuccessful period in United's history because they got relegated. But actually, when we got relegated under Tommy Docherty, he rebuilt the team. Made it youthful, got rid of some deadwood, ageing players, and they came up. I think the first season they lost the FA Cup final. They came third in the league, I think, as newly promoted. The season after that, they won the FA Cup. They were building a really good, exciting team with wingers, and then he got sacked for an indiscretion that was nothing to do with football. I think it was sleeping with one of the coach's wives or something like that. So, United have always had this. And I get really frustrated about this. United have always had this identity. People think Busby Babes, the 60s, Sir Alex Ferguson. But even in the interim, when we weren't winning titles, there was always this obsession with playing United way. And we've had, Ron Atkinson, we still played, we didn't win titles, we won the FA, we became a bit of a cup team, but we've had this. It's not just Sir Alex Ferguson and Matt Busby. We've had this identity all the way through the last 50 years. And success hasn't always been there, but we've always had that identity of risk-taking, wing play, attacking football. And over the last 6 years, we've just turned our back on it, and it's an absolute shambles that's happened. So even if Mourinho goes, do I trust this board to bring the right manager in? I don't know, but we've got to get back to that. It's so important that we get back to what this club's all about, and that's why I enjoyed the weekend so much, because we played wing play. It's what we're all about. As soon as we started doing that, you heard a difference in the crowd. It's like one of your old favourite songs. As soon as it comes on the radio, you can't help but feel good. And as soon as we played that wing play at the weekend, United fans felt good. It's the obvious thing to do. But we've employed managers who don't play bloody wing play. It's ridiculous. And wing play's not dead. It's not dead. Whipping a decent cross into the box has caused people problems for 100 years. Football's been around for just over 100 years. Putting a decent cross into the box in the right area will never die. You can do your little tiki-taka, you can do your high line, you can do your long ball, but putting decent crosses into the box and getting people into the box will always be a threat. And you've got 2 avenues to do it, so teams can't stop it. We should get a right winger, use youth and blank as manager, says Chirag Soy. Zakari Purvis says, Mark, what are your thoughts on the young Dortmund centre-halves? Comments on Jose on our style of play. Also on Fosu Mensah and Axel's Funitures. Akanji is the Dortmund Swiss centre-backs. I spoke about it a couple of days ago. He's basically said, I am a United fan, but I don't watch them because I don't like the style of play. So many people are saying this all around Europe now, to be honest. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Please do drop a like on the video, because the calls tonight have been absolutely fantastic, and it's been nice to do it on a transfer show, because obviously the transfer shows are normally fast paced. I've got to get through a lot, so it was nice to be interactive with you lot, and we can certainly do it again. For me, Ndombele is the one to go for. Ozil, a big fat no. Alderweireld, I'm sort of like undecided on really. I'd rather wait till the summer and get Skriniar. Patience is the key with United now. We're not getting top 4 as far as I'm concerned. So patience is the key. If we've got to wait till May to get rid of Mourinho on the cheap, let's do it. Let's keep our money in our pocket and let's go and spend. I'd rather spend 80 million on Skriniar in the summer than spend 30 million on Alderweireld now, and he's only going to be good for a year or two. I think patience is the key. I just wish we had football people in the club. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Get in the comments if you're not watching live and give us your thoughts on Ozil and Ndombele, all the points we've discussed, because there's a lot tonight. I really appreciate everyone watching live. I really appreciate everyone who's called in, and just support the channel and everyone who's called in and drop a like. Tomorrow you've got Flex and Rants show going up at 1 o'clock. That's going to be interesting. Tomorrow night we've got the press conference reaction, which I think we'll be doing at around 6:45. So it'll be a little bit early tomorrow night. About 7 o'clock we'll be doing the press conference reaction. And then I'm doing on That's Football tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I'm doing, I think I'm doing Spurs Barcelona. We'll keep an eye on Napoli. So busy day tomorrow. Make sure you got your bell on, your notifications. But press conference reaction is at about 7 o'clock tomorrow. And Flex and Rants at 1. Thanks everybody. Really enjoyed it. And I'll speak to you all tomorrow.